This is a reason that, well, this isn't the reason, but this is the result of me saying I can print anything on anything, I can ship anything anywhere, no matter what it is, no matter what we're printing on. And this is a result of it.
Yeah.
We're already over $400 cost on this thing. And they budgeted $400, by the way. So I'm deeper than the money they'll give me. But this is for Edison High School. Sorry, you can't see it back there. It's 20 pounds.
Wow.
There's 20 pounds of sign here so far.
Keep that going fast.
It's acrylic. So what I've learned in this, I'll do anything anytime, is I didn't know what I was talking about.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. And what it is I got a sign request from Edison for a flower garden, nature garden they call it. And the request had to do with something that was going to be outside. The original one that I have a picture of is a wooden sign that is mounted on these Trex posts, and they weigh, the whole thing weighs about a pound. But it's all deteriorated from the weather. So they wanted something that wouldn't deteriorate. And they didn't want aluminum, they wanted stainless. This is what this is, it's stainless. Now I thought, well, okay, we have a plasma cutter, we can cut that sucker out. I figured the time it took to cut the whole thing out, so many minutes based on the program, and then the cost of the material. $400 was fine. Here's what I learned. Okay, first of all, the plasma cutting is the holes, all the artwork. It's not text. We cut out. We cut out not only the lines here, we cut out the words here, but we couldn't cut this out because what happens, as I've learned, is if you try to cut this out, it leaves islands there because you have the cutting all the way around something, so that middle piece will just fall out. Who knows? So we couldn't use the plasma cutter or a laser cutter to cut that out all the way through. So this had to be etched. This part had to be etched. Laser etched. So I was going to mount it on PVC, which is inexpensive. PVC gets pretty bad in the summer, as I have another sign that after one day it looks like a wave. Anyway, so PVC is not a good choice. Acrylic, as I've learned, is a much better choice and much more expensive. So we have this mounted, we had to cut it out, but in the cutting out process, because there's so much detail in cutting it out, it warped a little bit. So that was the first problem, was it warping, and because I knew the guy that's doing the etching down in Laguna Niguel would need a perfectly flat piece. Didn't understand that, didn't know that, now I know that. Okay, so I had to make this flat. But before I did that, I wanted to finish it as a brush finish on stainless steel. And I thought, well, I can do that. No, I can't. I have some stainless steel, the pieces, we cut this out. The piece of stainless steel itself is 150 bucks. And we made a couple mistakes, but this came out fine without having to buy another piece. But because it's 3/32 thick, it worked, like I said. I had to have it flat. So the next step was to finish it first, because the flat etching was done last. So I had to finish it, and I learned that my hand finishing was not going to do it, so I took it to a guy to finish it. He's up in Santa Ana. That was fine. I also learned, how many here have ever heard of the word passivation? Me neither. So stainless steel, 304 stainless, 308 stainless versus 316, which is much better for corrosion resistance. 304 stainless is corrosion resistant, but free radicals of iron oxide will stay on the surface. Have you ever seen stainless that has spots of corrosion on it? That's why. So what you do is this passivation process. You dip this in nitric acid, it strips all that ferric oxide off of it and makes it good. So who wouldn't know that?
You do that with your refrigerator.
All the time. So that was the next step after having this finished, was to strip all this ferric oxide off, the potential corrosion off. So we did that next. Then I figured, okay, I had to mount this on something before I could do it. So I had these studs welded to the back of stainless steel. So all these studs are holding this stainless steel flat to this piece of acrylic. So it would be perfectly flat when we had it finally etched. And this has been since the end of June. They called me originally to have this, they called me early June to have it installed before the end of school, which was like 15 days. Fortunately, they've given me over deep into the 5 figures, so I get I mean, only no money in this, or no profit in this, I'm fine with that. I just want to give them what they want. So it's now, what, October almost? We're still in October? Because there's another step. This is a sign, it's really good, everything's fine with that. Perfect, actually.
How you gonna mount it?
Exactly. There's the problem. So, there's a, like I said, there's these 2 Trex posts. They're going to be removed. We now have to get aluminum square tubing to put into concrete and get these things mounted.
Oh, wow.
So they were counting on the free posts to be part of the mounting process, but now we've got to mount this with a channel to hold this whole piece in there. Fortunately, this is all behind gates, so nobody's going to, hopefully nobody will steal it. But
Looks nice.
I'm real happy with it.
HB high.
And I've learned, first of all, I will give someone the product they want and give it the quality they want and make sure that they get exactly that. So if I did anything less, then I shouldn't be in this business. And they will get a nice sign, they'll get a nice sign mounted, they'll be happy, extremely happy. Just with that, I'll be extremely happy. The important thing here is I don't mind the losing the money because it's part of my experience, and part of my growth, part of my learning process. But as long as the end result of the client's happy, that's what they will be happy. So we love to do printing, we love to do shipping. All the things we do, we add on different services to our business, as Kathy indicated, that will supplement the process we already do. Because what we look at is in our business is we support small businesses in the community. And I've gone a lot farther than just our little community. And supporting them in doing things that they need for their small business. You sell jewelry, you sell insurance, or you sell reverse mortgage, I'm sorry, promotional products. But you don't want all the other stuff that's surrounding your business, because you're really not just in a business to do that, you're in a business because of the process of being in business for yourself. All those other things that you don't want to think about, we pretty much do all those things. And we do them to that quality. And that's why I wanted you to see that. It's not done yet. I'll show you a picture when it's finally installed. But I'm carrying it around to show people what we've done and how I screwed up. Not screwing up making it, but screwing up evaluating how to make it. We're doing a project now for Will where his partner wants all the windows in the inside covered, totally opaque from edge to edge. And they're trying to determine from his determination versus his partner's determination of what it's going to take to do that. So I had some answers for them because their first quote was for $1,000 for the 4 signs. And I can do it for $660. And I can make some nice money at $660, but also get them the job they want. The other guy wants $1,000 to print and $500 to install it. And I know what he was going to install it with, and we can do it for tons less and save him a lot of money. But also give them that quality. A lot of little things we do to help people realizing the marketing has changed, like Victor knew, like guys knowing that it's not just social media to get your word out there. Because of the junk mail and emails, direct mail is still working for a lot of people. So we're doing that for Guy, we've done it for Victor, done it for Todd. So these kind of things we look at for your business, what will help you succeed? Beyond being a chiropractor, beyond doing carpet. What else in your business can we help you with to making sure it works? So there's my sign. I'm real happy with it. Don't really care about the money involved, as long as they're happy. So, any questions about anything that I do? Mike?
Just a comment. So if you had knowledge of what it would have been, you would have bid it, and they were like, "No, we don't want to do that," and you would have had the opportunity to have a great sign to like market, because that's what you're doing right now, is being able to demonstrate the quality of the work and the care that you take, and that is priceless, really. So it's worth its weight in marketing dollars.
That's a very strong comment you made in the beginning, though, because if I had said that this, if I had known all the different steps, each one of those steps I told you, by the way, each one of them was $100. Pretty much minimum. I mean, if someone's going in for this passivation thing, they take truckloads of metal. It's already stainless metal into that shop. And you can see the big vats that they have. And you don't have a minimum. But when you're doing my little sign, at a minimum. When you're welding all those studs on there, which we could have done, but not to that precision, because they're perfectly vertical. There's no problem with the weld where it actually will be thicker than the in the material itself. So all these little things we learned, but if I quoted him that based on my cost that I would have determined, he probably wouldn't have gone for it. No. But I still would have given them the sign they wanted, and I would have done it the same way, even though I'd already learned about how to do it. Yes, Thomas.
So I got a question. What would that sign retail for from you if someone came to you to make it? Again, now.
I'd probably do it for about 600. The sign, not the installation.
When do you want yours?
I would have thought it was more. I mean,
He's encouraging you
it's
to.
a piece of art. Yeah, you're.
It could have been more.
I think
You're right.
you're
It could have been more, but
You're selling yourself short.
it's not that. It's I can price
Sticking to
things
his
different
quote.
ways for different people based upon what this.
Like
In
insurance.
this case, it was a school, and even though I could have made some money on that, I know I could have made some money on that. It's still a school versus someone that has not budgetary restraints. So, but you're right. It is artwork. Yes, Scott.
So Jim, so we all know you're a printer and you can print stuff, but one thing I don't think the group quite knows is you've got a graphic artist on staff too, to where you can give you a concept and you can draft it all up. You don't have
Did
to.
you bring your
have-
postcard?
I didn't. I actually forgot it this morning, but I'll bring it next week.
And she did that in probably a half hour,
Yeah.
and she is amazing.
So in other words, if you have an idea, let Jim know, and they can mock something up. It doesn't, you just don't need to give them finished concept. They can come up with a concept. Did a great job. Actually, I did. I sent Jim a Dropbox folder with all kinds of images from this company that we're doing the estate of it. And basically, Jim called me and said they're just not good enough. They're not high res. And I said, okay, run with it. Tell me, show me something you guys can do. And he did, and it works really good. We're doing the EDDM, which is we're dropping these oversized postcards and some picked zip codes in Huntington Beach, so or Fountain Valley. So I'm really kind of anxious to see what the result is. He did a great job from concept, prototyping it to printing it. So.
It's kind of a unconscious, when you have something quality in front of you in the mail, you might want to look at it a little bit more, even though you're not thinking, oh, I want to stop and hold that aside, versus just a generic postcard type thing that's like you see all your stuff that's in your mail is the same. So I think that's the difference in having something quality. It's like your business card. We're designing one for Jeff right now, or Hannah is. And the business card is something that's not supposed to be a brochure. It's supposed to be something you look at quickly and for contact and put it away. It's designed that way. But if you want to look at something that's quality, you'll see something different than if you have just a generic postcard or business card. So that's the critical part of having a good designer. Anything else? Yes,
So
sir.
you do the mailing too? Do you do
Pardon?
the mailing of brochures and so
Right.
you do the full tip to tail?
One thing with guys we've learned, he also does a mailer from one of his vendors and sends him thousands of postcards already printed. So you have to install postage on it, labeling, everything, all by hand. It's very expensive to do that. It's all handwork. But if he had given me the list and the postcard to print, and then the postage itself, which I can print on the postcard, I can print the label on the postcard, and print the postcard for less than half what he's going to be charged for me to slap these things on.
I'm learning.
When a guy sends him postcards for free or not, which sounds like a good deal, it's not. As soon as you have to install everything else, it's not. And I've told you this, I have another facility over in, we're in Atlanta and Magnolia. Been there for 29 years now. We have another facility at Slater and Nichols in Huntington Beach, central Huntington Beach. About 1,400 square feet that we have equipment that does things beyond what I could do in the shop, including cutting this out. So, works pretty well. I ship a lot of things out, crate a lot of things. I love crating, love freight. So, anything you need for your business beyond selling insurance, building websites, whatever you do, we can do the other stuff. Any other questions? I'm glad I got to show you my sign. Thank you.